Hello, lovelies. Hope you've been well. This journal with me is actually going to include a voiceover. When I posted my last chatty journal with me, half of you just wanted a quiet one with ASMR, kind of like paper sounds. So I thought, you know what, I'll alternate it a little bit because I don't always have things to say most of the time. So I figured I can always just alternate it. So this time it's going to have a little bit of a voiceover, and then next time it won't, kind of thing. So I'll alternate a little bit. So I'm just journaling on my weekly memory keeper. This is on the Thinking of You. You know, this book, I've already used it for almost 2 years. This is actually from like last year or something like that. But anyway, I was just cutting things from a sticker calendar that I got from a printable from Jobs Journal Patreon. I'll link it down below. He makes these calendar stickers sometimes, and then sometimes like a himekuri style printable kind of thing. Basically, I'm just going through all my PET tapes to start journaling. But anyway, I'm here today to talk about not only my spread, but I figured, it's nice to put a little bit of this because I'm doing a spread, so I might as well, give you my thought process and things like that. But I figured I will also talk about something else, because if I just have to talk about my spread the whole time, I think you'll probably get bored, because you will find out how many times I actually move a certain stickers until I'm satisfied with it. I just take a while with all these things, especially when I just started in this notebook, because you have to kind of get used to a notebook after a while. So I get faster at this, but I was still on this for around like only 6 months-ish. I think this is September last year. So it was I'm still taking a lot of time to get everything perfect and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm here today to talk about story time of how I started collage journaling, just because I feel like it might be, I don't know, I feel like I've never talked about this before with you guys, and I figured it might be nice to just share how I get to where I am creatively and things like that. As I was growing up, I always have a certain love for crafty things and things you can do with your hands. I doodle when I was a kid, but I'm never really good at it. I remember when I was in primary school, my favorite subject at school was actually all the craft stuff. I grew up in Indonesia, and we didn't have a lot of creativity based subjects back then, because it's in Asian country, that is very, very focused towards academics. So maths and science and languages, not so much languages, but maths and science are one of the bigger subjects. So I only had one subject that I really like, which is the crafts. I don't even know how to translate it to English, because it's not design, it's like crafts kind of thing. And I did take sewing when I was slightly older, so that was really fun as well. So when I actually moved here in Australia, I did take design and technology and art and those kind of subjects. So I've always been creative, and I've always really liked doing things with my hands. So since taking design and technology, me and some friends actually started up a little business where we actually sew bags to sell on Etsy. This was when I was in uni, so it's a while ago, but I remember it was actually quite fun. We would go to one of my friends' house and sew things for orders and things like that, and I remember that was really fun. But I fell off it quite a bit. So after uni and getting my first job, I didn't do a lot of creative stuff aside from the things that I do at work. So I started my job as a front-end developer. Still a little bit creative, because what I do day to day is mostly slice up images and then code it up into a website, if that makes sense. That's how I explain it to people anyway. But when I was in my first job, I wasn't doing anything creative aside from my job. So when I go home, the only thing that I did was basically watch K-dramas. I feel like I was so tired, so burnt out from my job that I don't want to do anything else, so I ended up just watching K-dramas. And then after a while, I realized most of my time were just spent watching K-dramas, and I feel like it wasn't really a good use of my time, because half of the time I don't even remember exactly what the story is about. I just remember, oh, I like this or I didn't like that one. I realized just how much time I wasted, and then after a while I felt like I don't want to just work 9 to 5. And it's also come on the back of a few redundancies, which made me question my life a little bit. I think that's like my quarter life crisis, that I feel like I don't want to just work all my life. I don't want to do 9 to 5 all my life. I want something that fulfills me aside from my job, because I remember having that job, like I was constantly dragging my feet in the morning to actually go to work. I don't know what it is, but I think that job is just quite draining, and like the environment was a little bit toxic and stuff. So I told myself to actually find something fulfilling outside of work that I can just do for me and not for other people. Maybe it's a little bit selfish, but I just want something I really enjoy that I can use when I need to run away from work, basically. So I remember that I like doing crafty stuff and doing things with my hands. So when I was in that quarter life crisis, what I decided was I was gonna try all these things. So what I decided was every month I'm gonna try something different and see what sticks. In the end, it didn't really happen that way, because the first one that I wanted to try was calligraphy, and I realized a month in that a month doesn't give you anything. As in, when I did calligraphy, when it was 1 month, and I feel like I was nowhere, like it still looks really bad kind of thing. So even though back then I had really strong will, like I don't know where that will come from. I don't even have it now, but back then I would actually sit down for 2 to 3 hours each night after work to actually just practice my calligraphy. But because it was something very new to me, I actually can sit down and just write for ages. So that's how it started. The first one was calligraphy, and then I didn't go anywhere else. My second one was meant to be like clay, like making little clay, polymer clay stuff. But it never really took off because I just took a while to actually get good at calligraphy. So I never actually went to polymer clay like I planned before. But it was okay, because like calligraphy needs a lot of practice for you to get good at it. And then after that, I kind of went to bullet journaling, even though I don't know what I was bullet journaling about. Because I think back then, all that I did was just work and some calligraphy stuff. I should really look back to my older bullet journals. Like I didn't have a shop back then, I don't think. So it was like a little bit more, I don't even know what I put in my bullet journal basically. But I got into that for a little bit. I think that's when I created my Instagram account. I think if you scroll far enough, you can probably still see some of my bullet journal stuff. I did that, and then I stopped for a few years. I think I can't remember why, but after a while I somehow got back into this again, and that's because I discovered collage journaling. And I remember distinctly the first Instagram account that I discovered was Dear Bunny in Instagram, and she has a very nice soft vintage, like minimal-ish aesthetic that I really, really love. But I've never seen anything like it. So I was like, what is this? Why does it look so good? Because I know of junk journaling, but for me, it's always very retro and vintage and very busy. I like pretty things, but I don't like to have things that are so busy that you don't know where your eyes go to. I like to have a specific place where your eyes can lead to, if that makes sense. Junk journaling is way too busy for me. So when I discovered this style, I was like, this is the style that I want. From there, I got a travels notebook, and then I started collage journaling, and then the rest is history, basically. So that's how it started. I journaled for a little bit. That was 2018, I think. And then I realized there's not a lot of people that has that type of journaling, and I feel like more people should know about it because I don't know, I really love the style. So I started my YouTube because I wanted to introduce the style to a wider audience. I don't think many people know about it. So I feel like, you know what, if there's someone that's doing it on YouTube, maybe people will know more about it. When I first started, the ones that were doing this kind of journaling was James. I don't think he posts anymore, but James was doing it, and also Ana Jimenez is the only two that I distinctly remember that was around that was doing this type of collage journaling. So I feel like it needed more representation, and I feel like it won't be too much work because I feel like you can just record top-down view of me journaling and then that's it. For me, it sounded low effort back then, so I was like, I'm already journaling, so I might as well record those and then post it. So that's how it started, and most of my first few videos doesn't actually have voiceover until I'm probably like a year into making YouTube videos, and then I decide, you know what, I want to really improve my communicating skills because I know in my job, if I want to grow, I need to be able to do presentations, and communication is important. But because English is my second language, and even though I'd say my English is pretty decent, but sometimes I don't have that much confidence in it because I feel like I use so much filler words. It's sometimes I can't find the words that I want to speak. Then I get tongue-tied a lot, and then my pronunciation isn't that great and things like that. So there's a lot of things to work on, and I feel like if I actually has an outlet where I'm talking about things that I already love, then it's an easier transition rather than talking about things I don't know, so I feel like maybe it can be an outlet for me to start improving my communication. I don't know if it improved from when I first started, but I feel like I gotten way more comfortable talking to you guys, even though it just feels like I'm rambling all the time, and probably most of the time I don't really make sense. I'm so grateful for you guys that actually watches all these like rambly videos, even though probably half of them are like experimental. I'm just trying to like improve myself, but it's nice to have someone to take on a journey with, and I feel like we're improving together, if that makes sense. So with the YouTube as well, this year I'm gonna try to do more of this chatty stuff, because the last 2 years I think I already have a formula that kind of works, kind of not. Like I constantly pump out videos, but they're like videos that are a little bit easier for me to do just so that I have consistency. But I think this year I can start doing a little something that's a little bit more different, like a little bit more talking videos, a little bit more maybe like my journaling 101 series that seems to be useful for some people, so I want to continue that as well. But those actually takes more time to do than my usual one, where it's just like journal and put on music on top, even though I edit that quite a bit as well because I'm a little bit pedantic about when my hand leaves the frame and then there's nothing to do, or if I'm like doing something really mundane like writing, I usually fast forward it because you don't really want to watch me like write a lot kind of thing. Like right now, usually fast forward most of those stuff. That's how the channel's going, I guess. I hope you do like where it is right now. I also revamped my thumbnails from end of last year, and so far I like it more. I've been trying to do this and that, and I hope it's kind of works. I just feel like maybe it'll be a nice story time to tell you about how I get started on collage journaling and stuff. I started collage journaling 2018, and that's when I started to get into travels notebook and stuff. So it's been 5 years and a bit. Whoa, time flies. I think a lot of the time when I actually do a lot of this journaling thing was when it was the pandemic, so I feel like it was a really good time to start because it's like a very homebody hobby. Like you can just do it at home and you'll be happy just at home with all your stationeries. Like I'm very happy being at home with all my stationeries, in case that's not obvious already. But yeah, I hope you find that insightful, entertaining, somehow. And I just want to do a little bit more of this talking, rambly, chatty journal videos, just because I just feel like sharing a little bit of myself to you guys, because you've been there for a while. I'm so grateful that I have all you guys to talk to and spaz about stationaries and things like that, because in real life there's not a lot of people that can understand how much I love stationaries unless I meet my stationery peeps, but we don't meet that often. We've only found each other probably like last year, but I'm so glad to have all of you to talk, to ramble about stationaries about, and just share my genuine excitement and love for all this thing analog and creative. So I'm running out of things to say, I think you can tell, but thank you so much for being here and listening, and I will leave you here, but the video will probably run over for a little bit more, so feel free to watch until the end. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you on my next chatty video. So I hope you stay safe, take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.